everything that Deshaun Watson has said he didn't do or that wasn't illegal could still hold. Mm-hmm. And everything the women have said continues to multiply with other women, right? Like if there's not some new allegation of, okay, Deshaun Watson grabbed me and forced me to have sex with him, right? That would be a completely new allegation that's totally different than other accusations from women, right? There's a lot of differences in some of the stories, but really right now it's just more and more and more. And I'm certainly not going to be shocked if there's another story that there's 30 more women that come out and tell the New York Times or someone else that's involved.
And also, I'm sure you guys hit this, but look, I can understand an NDA from, I don't want everybody to know my business, but you shouldn't have such a widespread thing that you don't need people to know your business. If you have normal business dealings with a couple masseurs, then you don't need an NDA. Right?
I mean, look, there's no denying now that his dealings with massage therapists is irregular. Like there's
beyond irregular.
There's no saying. I mean, there's no defense now coming from, his defense team saying, he was very normal in how he handled massage therapy and what he did with it. The defense is it illegal?
Right. Happy endings are normal.
Yeah, and consensual sex is legal if it happened after. Well, if you solicit it and offer to pay for it, it's illegal.
What's crazy though is an NDA is not uncommon to hear about. Derek Jeter handed out gift baskets, and you check your phone at the door, and that was applauded at the time as some great Howard Stern-esque type story that would happen at his mansion.
Right, but we've not heard from those women that he was doing anything that they didn't want them to.
Because they signed an NDA. I mean, that's my point.
Well,
that was the whole point of telling the gift basket story. You get a gift basket on the way out for signing something on the way in.
Here's the troubling part to me about all this. And Hutner, you're right about what you're saying. It's not the NDA that bothers me, or that he went to the Texans head of security to ask for a solution, and the Texans head of security doing his job says, man, you probably need to clean this up, and here's an NDA if you get in a future problem. And maybe he makes copies of that. Maybe he gave him 50 of them right away. It's the fact that Deshaun Watson was blackmailed by a woman on Instagram, said, this is what happened. I want you to pay me this. You've done this to me. I'm upset about it. I'm going to expose you. Deshaun Watson freaks out for a moment, goes to the facility, goes to the head of security, gets an NDA, and starts it right back up again. Doesn't even say, I probably should cool it. If this is going to happen to me.
This is what people do. People
but he
power,
goes right back.
with money.
That shows me, though,
habits.
this is such a problem, right? I mean, we talked about the Robert Kraft thing. Why would you go to this spa to do this? You are a billionaire. You could do so many different things and stay within the boundaries of the law in doing so. But there's just, people are weird. People have their things and they have their kinks and whatever. But to me, that's where this was a real problem for Deshaun Watson. I just think about the natural human response to that would be to get scared and to shut it down for a while. This guy, after this, contacted the owner of a string of massages and then got in with her to handle the bidding for him.
I said, this is what people do. Let me correct myself. People with money and power, and I said bad habits. What I meant is a propensity for potentially criminal behavior. And that's what they do. They feel like they're invincible, right? Time and time again, that's what the story is. Not even people with power. You watch Dateline and people get away with stuff and they do a little more until they kill someone. Or, whatever. I'm not saying you killed someone, but you know what I'm saying.
Well,
it's the pattern.
The other normal part of this that we haven't seen is a settlement out of court, which he refuses to do.
Yeah.
That's the other uncommon element to this story, which, unfortunately, this is the example of why you settle out of court even if you feel like you're not guilty of anything.
It's true.
Because the things continue
rid of it
to
and
build.
Make it go away.
And I'll go back to this point. If he settles last October, he's in Miami right now, and he would have finished the season as their starting quarterback. Period.
And
that would have happened.
And this would not be a story this offseason.
And now we wait on this independent investigation to conclude. The NFL has concluded their talks with him. He was asked about that today. He said he has been nothing but completely honest with the league. and that all he wants to do is clear his name, which is why he hasn't settled.
This is the other thing, though, that I think that happens in this whole framework, Chad, of the mentality of it. I think people convince themselves that things are true that are not true. I believe that he's done a lot of this stuff and that he's convinced himself he's done nothing wrong at the same time. I believe a lot of people who do nefarious stuff, some of it, different levels of nefarious stuff, convince themselves, I was raised well, I'm a good person, I've done a lot of charitable work, I spent my first paycheck on the women in the cafeteria who were affected by the hurricane. I'm a generally good guy. And I've gone into some massages and did some things, but there's nothing wrong with what I did. And in his moral code, he's carved out, and I think we all do this to some degree, you carve out what is fine and what is not. I'll give an example of myself. I'm a kid. I was raised in a religious family. I carved out that it was okay to drink with my buddies, but it was not okay to do any drugs. And so underage drinking, and I know this is a small thing, but underage drinking was completely fine, but I would never go near pot. And so I justified a lot of things that way. I made carve-outs. We all make out carve-outs. And so he gets bigger, and we're talking about a different world and a different degree of things, and he carved things out in a way that he convinced himself he's fine.
Well, and also I think that he had a lot of success with this.
Yes.
I mean,
and the more you have success,
right.
the more...
I mean, it's not universal.
You gain confidence.
It's on the record that 3 of these women had sex with him at the end of the massage. So it's not like he's getting turned down at every turn. So the confidence level grows. It emboldens you to do more and more, and you're not as deterred by the girl that cries when you try to do this with her, right?
Because the next one might have sex with you.
Yeah. I mean, you just move on and say, well, I guess, she was having a bad day, but let's call up my massage consigliere down the road, and she'll set me up with a new masseuse. And then things will be fine tomorrow or 3 days from now or 1 week from now.
My biggest issue with the whole thing is the NFL, who 6, 7, 8 months ago decided they were not going to play the court system. They are now going by the moral code of reacting to public perception and public reaction to this story. After allowing him, if they do in fact end up suspending him, they have allowed him to be suspended with the maximum of $1 million fine if he's suspended for the full season. The NFL allowed this to happen. Cleveland gave him a fully guaranteed contract where they have doubled down publicly saying they do not plan on voiding that contract. This is the second time that he stood behind a microphone and claimed that he's going to clear his name on this. 2 grand juries, not one, but 2 grand juries in Texas threw this out. Didn't even want to go forward with it for a criminal trial. And yet here we sit on a month before training camp gets going back through the details that were available through these court documents last fall. And a lot of these details that were out in the HBO interview were in these documents. But yet the reaction has been, oh, we're hearing this for the first time. I mean, there's also a timing element to it from the other side of this case as to why they sat down and did the interviews right now. It's because the court of public perception, they're hoping, weighs in on whatever NFL investigation is going on right now.